Test 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Plosives, sibilants, syphilis.
So this is my new series that I'm working on. Or we're gonna tentatively call it Between Two Fenders. We've got a Fender there. Actually, between like 3 or 4 Fenders.
Yeah,
but,
between 6 Fenders.
Yeah, between a lot of Fenders. And it's not in any way affiliated with Fender Music Corporation. They're not sponsoring anything because...
Nor is Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, don't worry. He won't see it. He won't see this. So the goal of this series is to kind of profile not only friends, but other guitar players, people in the guitar community, YouTubers, professional musicians, stuff like that. And you're my first guest, Mr. Rhett Shull.
Hi.
And then I'm going to edit in like, yeah. It's like, so Rhett, welcome to my new show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I feel honored to be the first guest, actually. That is kind of a big deal.
Well, thank you for stopping by on your way back to Atlanta.
Yep. Back home.
I'm a big fan of your channel.
Likewise.
And your playing.
Thanks, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you. It's my show. Let me get the last thank you. Okay, so what I like about your channel is you have not only great guitar playing, but I'm gonna just like talk you up for a little bit, so be prepared for this. But I really like your content that you put out. It's very it's something that a lot of guitar players, the knowledge that they need to know. You talk about a lot of interesting things as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
No, thank you.
But I wanted to find out, how did it all start? Where are you from, and how did you get into music?
So I grew up in Atlanta, well, just north of Atlanta. And I got into music when I was like probably 13 years old. I got a guitar for Christmas. And it was like a total afterthought. My dad on like Christmas Eve was doing some last minute shopping and found this like $99 Strat pack, like cheap Strat and an amp for $100 kind of thing. And he's like, oh, well, I'll just get that.
Were you interested in guitar at the time?
I was a little bit, because I grew up in like middle school band, elementary school band, and a neighbor of mine across the street had just gotten a guitar. And I originally went to my parents, was like, I really want a guitar. And their initial reaction was, no, you're not going to practice it. It's just going to collect dust in the corner. And at this time I had like 12 years old. I had just discovered Jimi Hendrix. I just discovered Pink Floyd. In fact, I can take you to the exact spot I was in when I first heard Red House by Hendrix. And it completely changed my life. It's like a 12-year-old kid. It was just mind-blowing experience. I'd never heard anything like that before. So I've been bugging my parents for a guitar. They said no. And then for that Christmas, my dad was like, okay, well, whatever. Well, I'll just get him this, and he'll have it under the tree. He can mess with it, and we'll see what happens. And I have not stopped playing guitar since that day.
Now, did you have anyone in your family that was a musician or anything like that?
No one in my family is a musician. Nobody plays anything. My mom sang a little bit growing up, but that's really it. I don't have any extended family who are musicians. I honestly have no idea where the musical vibe came from. Maybe it was from some extended relative or something. But yeah, I just kind of found it, man. And for the first time when I got into music, when I got into guitar, it was like the first thing in my life that I felt really fit. Yeah, I was horrible at sports. I was horrible at school.
Me too.
Yeah, like, so I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. And then at like 13 years old, I had this thing that I could play, and I just took to it naturally, and it was amazing. So
what was your music education route? Did you take private lessons? Did you learn on your own? Did you go to music school or anything like that? So
starting out through like my first probably 5 or 6 years of playing, I was completely self-taught. Again, because nobody in my family is musical, we didn't know that like, oh yeah, you should probably find a really great private teacher and have kind of a mentor. My parents thought it was cool that I was teaching myself and learning and becoming a somewhat competent player by just learning and playing by ear. So I didn't have any lessons growing up, and then went to college, barely graduated high school, went to college, promptly failed out of college after a year. Like, no joke, my GPA after my freshman year of college was like a 0.8 or something like that.
Was it just like like
it just wasn't
general,
for me, man. Yeah,
but it wasn't a music school or anything.
No, it was just a regular college.
Yeah.
And it was the only college I got accepted to. I applied to, I think, 9 schools, and this small little private college is the only one that accepted me. So I went, failed out, went to community college for a semester after that, failed out of community college. And then after that, kind of decided, okay, music is my thing. And I went to a music school in Atlanta called Atlanta Institute of Music. And that was like my first exposure to real music training. Graduated from there, and then a couple years after graduating, I'd been playing and gigging around town, and I met Rick Beato, who at the time was a music producer in Atlanta.
Who's also a great YouTuber.
Also a great YouTuber, yes. And I interned at Rick's for probably 2 or 3 years, and then kind of became...
As a studio assistant?
Yeah, I started out as like a
getter?
Well, yeah, but honestly, the great thing about interning at Rick's was I never had to do very much interny type stuff. Like my first day there, I was already setting up mics and miking drum kits and
that's awesome.
Miking amps and stuff. And then after only a couple months, I was playing on sessions. And that is where my music education really happened, was being around Rick in that studio for like 5 years.
So he was a big mentor.
Yeah, he still is,
yeah.
You know. I was around when he started his YouTube channel, and I've seen that grow, and yeah, I mean he and I live close to each other, so we get lunch once, twice a week and hang out. I mean he's been a big influence.
So was it because of him that you yourself got into YouTube?
Yeah.
Channel?
Well, I've always loved YouTube. Like this has been my favorite way to, I guess, kind of consume media, because
mine too.
With YouTube, it's the only platform out there that you, the viewer, have like a direct connection with the person making the video. It doesn't matter how big the channel is, right? Even if you're Casey Neistat at 10 million subscribers, you can comment on a Casey video and he can respond to you. And I've always loved that aspect of it. And so I was the one who kind of encouraged Rick to get into YouTube about 3 years ago. And then watching the success of his channel kind of inspired me to finally like, okay, I want to start doing this. And so about 12 months ago, I started making videos.
Really? I thought it was longer than that. So 12 months is when you really kind of...
Yeah.
That's kind of, I guess, where I started. I started my YouTube channel... Well, I signed up for YouTube like in 2006, but I never really did anything with it. And it wasn't until like, I think it was last year that I posted a vlog, like my first tour vlog, and said I want to try doing YouTube for real. You know, I had put up some gear demo stuff, but I wasn't really serious about it. It was just to put something up. But I guess it's
I was the same way, man. I started my channel. You know, I had a channel since like 2008 or 9, and it was every 6 months I'd get a wild hair and like I'm gonna make a video, and I'd put it up, and then would not touch it. And it was like that for 4 or 5 years. So my channel had probably 11 or 12 videos on it. And then I started, you know, in the late 2017, I was coming off the road. I wasn't touring as much. And so I kind of started experimenting with posting videos. And then January of 2018, I just decided like, okay, this is part of what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been great.
Well, that's interesting. You and I kind of have a similar thing where we're also working musicians that also do YouTube. Yeah. Have you found any challenges about, you know, scheduling both things or keeping up with your YouTube stuff while you're gigging or touring?
Yeah, it's been like the first year has just been kind of a learning experience for me. Like trying to figure out how to make it work. First of all, trying to figure out the YouTube thing, but also like what you were talking about. I still gig, I still do sessions, I still go on the road, and so it is tough to try and keep up with making videos. But the cool thing is, like you, I love, probably my favorite thing to do is like the tour vlog thing. I love storytelling, I love sharing a perspective and an idea. And so when I'm on the road, I think it's a really cool thing to talk about. Like we get to travel around the world and play music.
And anything can happen.
Anything can
catching
happen.
It on video is awesome.
So that's what I do is I just, every time I'm on the road, I just take my camera with me and I shoot the whole thing and edit together vlogs of it. And those have been, a lot of my favorite videos I've ever made have been that way. And a lot of my subscribers, that's their favorite thing that I put up, like tour vlog things.
They love that stuff. I enjoy, as a viewer, I like watching vlogs and travel type vlogs just because it's interesting.
It's a story thing, you know, and my favorite vloggers are people that are great storytellers, you know, and
it's almost like a mini documentary.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I would love to do. I'd love to do more of that on my channel of kind of sharing the story of what we do and trying to kind of highlight musicianship in the modern age and what it looks like to actually make a living as a musician, because there's a lot more to it than I think people understand and think about. You know?
Agreed. Was there like one certain video that you did that was kind of like your breakout video that you said, I think this YouTube thing is for me. I definitely, you know, I'm getting all these views or I'm getting a lot of interest.
There's kind of been two. The first was last March. It was right when the PRS Silver Sky came out, the John Mayer Silver Sky. And I just made a video because I was seeing on, I don't spend a lot of time on forums like the gear page or anything, but I was seeing all of this just hate and vitriol towards PRS and towards John Mayer about this guitar. And I just thought it was kind of ridiculous. And so I just made sort of a rant video talking about, you know, the guitar and what I thought about it. And that video, I think it was just the right time. It jumped up to, it was my first video with over 100,000 views.
Wow.
And so that's when it was like, oh, cool, this is a thing now, this is viable. And then my second video, it's actually my biggest video on my channel right now, was another rant about the
So people
Gibson.
like to hear you complain.
Well, some people liked it, a lot of people hated it, but it was talking about the 2019 Gibson Les Paul Standard.
Video, yeah.
And you know, I made this video just kind of ranting about that guitar, and not to hate on Gibson, because I'm a Gibson player. I love Gibson. They're some of my favorite guitars ever. I just thought this was right when the all of the Chapter 11 bankruptcy stuff was going down, and they had just released this guitar that, in my opinion, was just the wrong guitar at the wrong time for Gibson. I thought, you know, they should be getting back to their roots. They should be getting back to doing what they've done best for years, which is building just great guitars and great Les Pauls, not something that has a circuit board in it that's not going to be serviceable or replaceable. And so anyway, I made this video, and that one kind of blew up as well. But yeah, to answer your question, I've had a couple of videos that have been like, oh yeah, this is a viable thing to do, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you went to the Gibson booth at the NAMM show, right? And they've kind of like, with their new CEO, they've kind of...
I'm really encouraged, man. Yeah, I'm really, really encouraged by what they're doing. You know, it does seem to me that they are kind of going back to the roots and doing what they do best, which is building killer guitars. You know, I think
it's what guitar players want. That's what they're known for.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I get that they want to try something new or trying to break out of their box, but sometimes the box is
right.
Sometimes
the box works. And my point in that Gibson video was not saying that this is a terrible guitar that should not exist. It was just saying, like, I don't think this is the right time to be promoting this as your standard model. Like, I think it should be, you should absolutely build that guitar, but it should be branded as something like the Les Paul Modern.
Don't call it the standard.
Don't call it the standard, because I think the standard, and I appreciate Gibson for innovating and pushing, because that's the history of their company. That's what they've, I mean, the Les Paul was Les Paul was an innovator. I mean, we wouldn't have multi-track recording and overdubbing without that man, you know? So I think there is a spirit of that in that guitar. I just thought now's not the right time. I just got kind of the vibe of like, oh, we're going down the Firebird X thing again here, you know?
I remember that.
It's like, that didn't work the last time. But anyway, that's a whole other rant.
Well, that's awesome that the YouTube stuff is going great. And I've been seeing a lot more people getting interested in becoming YouTubers, and specifically guitar YouTubers. What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone that's interested in starting a guitar YouTube channel?
A guitar YouTube channel. Well, I think a couple of things. If you want to do YouTube full-time, you have to treat it like a full-time job. You just have to decide. Even if you have 0 subscribers, you have to decide from the start, like, okay, this is part of my full-time gig now. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I make videos.
You can't get discouraged about, oh, it's not getting any views.
Right.
Because it does take time. But there are ways to work up to it and to create strategies to do it.
It takes time, and there's peaks and valleys. I mean, even as your channel starts to grow, you're going to experience lulls. You know, you're not going to be hitting the subscribers. You're not going to be hitting the views that you were. You just have to push through those things. The other thing I would say is find your voice. Find whatever it is that you do well and is unique to you. So I think, like, for my channel, I love videography. I love the visual side of things. I love,
which you're very good at.
Thank you. I like spending time making a video look cool, and I also love writing and recording and producing stuff. And so I think part of my voice on YouTube has been to shoot kind of more polished videos and write tracks and play stuff at the top of the videos. And so that's part of what I do. And when I found that it worked was because I just was having the most fun creating those type of videos. So that's what I would say is, like, because you can get burnt out on YouTube very easily. So to prevent that, make videos that you really love making. Yeah. You know,
I was listening to, I think it was Sarah Dietschy. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's got
one for them, one for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to go about doing it. You know, create videos for yourself, because it's important that you do something for you, but you also have your viewers that you want to please or to create content for. So it's important to do both.
It's finding that balance, because sometimes you have to do videos that maybe are more, for lack of a better term, like clickbaity, to get exposure to your channel. And then once you bring people into your channel, then you can show them what you really want to show them. So for me, my version of that is like the tour vlog thing. That's what I want people to see. That's part of what I want people to know me for. But those videos aren't always great at bringing new people in. So I have to balance that with doing videos that are going to be more kind of YouTube centric to kind of bring new people into.
And it also depends on what kind of crowd that you want to pull into. Some guitar player viewers want to see lesson videos or just gear demos and stuff. So, and you don't have to spread yourself along that whole spectrum. Yeah. But sometimes it's a good way. It's good to kind of pick and choose what you enjoy doing, as well as what your viewers like to see.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So cool. Let's talk about some nerdy stuff. You were at the NAMM show, as was I.
I was at NAMM. Yep.
Was there any? Well, before that, is there any cool pieces of gear that you've recently acquired in the past year, or some kind of thing that you're really into right now that you have?
Yes, a couple of things. One would be a set of pickups that I just put in my 335. They're from Echo Park Guitars, the Goldie PAFs. Yeah. They're the Dwayne Allman spec PAFs. Ooh. Gabriel at Echo Park crushed it on those things. My 335 is like one of my babies. I love that guitar, and I've always loved it. But putting those pickups in it took that guitar to a whole other level, and I've like re-fallen in love with that guitar for that.
Are they hot pickups?
No, they're real low output,
wind,
which I like.
I love low winds. Yeah. That's my thing.
So those have been really great. I've got a Strymon Volante on the way.
Ooh, I've seen.
In fact, I just got the email. I think it just showed up today at the house. I played that at NAMM, and it blew my mind. That was probably my favorite thing I saw at NAMM, was the Volante. So I'm excited about that. And then, you know, some nerdy recording stuff. I've gotten some new preamps and stuff recently that I'm really stoked on. The CAPI, the VP312s. Dude, so good.
See, I can't get into... You have like a lunchbox situation?
Yeah.
See, I don't have that anymore. Yeah. I was interested in having that setup, but I wanted to keep everything simple. So do you use the Universal Audio stuff?
No, I don't have any UA stuff yet. That's kind of, I think, my next step is getting into UA.
Well, the thing, as soon as I bought the UA stuff, and then they have plug-in versions of all these preamps and channel strips, I'm like, I'll just do it all in the box.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing now. For people who are starting out in recording, it makes a lot of sense to get a good interface that has good converters and invest in some good solid plugins, because we're getting to the point now, you know, I'm also really passionate about recording and music production and stuff. And I think we're getting to the point now where the software versions of the gear, especially the stuff from Universal Audio, is within 5% of the real outboard piece of gear, but you're spending a fraction of the cost. And so for people, this is one thing I talk about on my channel a lot. For guitar players today, if you're a guitar player or you're an up-and-coming guy and you want to be a full-time musician, a guitar player, you have to have more skills other than just being proficient at your instrument.
Exactly.
You have to know how to record, you have to know how to mix, you have to know how to do some basic engineering stuff.
If you're going to be a professional.
If you want to actually make a living at this, you know, because you know when the gigs are good, they're good. And when things dry up, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And so having these skill sets, whether it's music production or writing or producing or like videography, having a YouTube channel, whatever it is, I think it's really important to be able to wear multiple different hats in the musical creative space. And so for me, with interning at Rhetts for so long, I learned a lot about music production. So I think that's a really good way for people to get into the production side of things, which I think everybody should be doing now. Yeah. It's like invest in some good plugins, man, instead of going out and buying all this expensive outboard gear.
Exactly. Well, cool, man. So what's the future hold for you? What's on the horizon this year?
Well, I'm actually in town. I played last night here with an artist that I've been playing with for a long time, Jessie Wilson. She's about to drop her first solo record. So we did the single release show last night.
Oh, nice. At the basement.
Yeah, at the basement.
That's a great venue.
And dude, her music is so awesome. Pat Carney, the drummer from the Black Keys, produced her record.
Oh,
I'm a
awesome.
huge Black Keys fan. So like, I think it fits my playing style really well. It's,
you see my Tascam 388 over there?
Yeah, dude. I saw that.
I haven't turned it on in years.
I saw it though. I noticed it. Though. Yeah. But yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Her record drops in May, so we're going to be probably touring on that through the summer. Another friend of mine I play with, a guy named Noah Guthrie, I'm about to go up and record.
He's a great singer.
Yeah, dude, he's amazing. I'm about to go record his next record next week. And then, dude, the YouTube channel has just been growing and taking off. And that's probably what I'm most excited about, is the YouTube channel. Like,
me too.
I love it, man.
I think it's going to be a good year for both of us.
Yeah. I'm so excited to see where this goes, you know?
Yeah. So I want to try to end this series with a lightning round of A or B questioning.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Take me there.
So answer it, you know, not as fast as you can, but just kind of, you know,
quickly.
Don't think about
First thing that pops up.
Yeah, ready?
Yeah.
And here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Single coils or humbuckers?
P90s.
Ooh. EL84s or 6v6?
6v6s.
Oh my God. Strymon or Eventide?
Strymon.
Brian Adams or Ryan Adams? Too soon.
Too soon.
And Rhett Shull, everybody. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome.
I'll definitely throw links to your YouTube channel down in the description.
Yeah, and we just did a video together for my channel too, which is going to be coming out probably right around the same time. So
we'll coordinate it then.
We'll coordinate it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Dude, absolutely. This is a good series. I can't wait to see who else you have on.
Between two Fenders. And if you'd like to see more of these types of videos, gear demos, tone tips, and tutorials, click that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
Videography for musicians. Videos about, all right, maybe it doesn't have a title. It doesn't matter. Today, we're talking about video lighting, specifically how to get great lighting on a budget.